Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Rushdead Dixon Vixen. Tonight I'm going to, since I can't even sleep, so tonight I'm gonna show you I am a DVD collector and I love to collect DVDs. And right now I'm gonna show you my collection of DVDs, which are some of my favorites of all time, and you can write down in my channel which one is your favorite. So I've organized them in categories, and this first part is action and sci-fi. So that's what I did. I put them I put them in categories. So instead of doing in one big line, so it'll be too much of a pain. This one This is the A-Team, the movie version of the A-Team. I'm a huge fan of the A-Team. I have the television series, all 5 seasons. It was my favorite show growing up. But like Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, that they had great chemistry. Some people liked it, some people hated it, but I liked the movie. It was a lot of action and some humor too. So, and wait for the ending. It has the original Face and Murdoch in the closing credits. So I'm not gonna say anything more. So make sure if you have this movie, you gotta watch this. Okay. Next one. This is Air Force One. Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. Both are great actors, and it is a lot of action. It is an excellent movie. I would recommend it. Like in my friends loved my friend Daniel loves Air Force One. Get off my plane. Great quote from the movie. So buckle your seatbelts. Air Force One is a wild ride. Excuse me. And this one is Armageddon. It's from Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler. It had the Aerosmith song "Don't Want to Miss a Thing." I thought it was a pretty good movie. It had an all-star cast: Will Patton, Keith David, Steve Buscemi, Owen Wilson, a lot of people. But I thought the movie was okay. Billy Bob Thornton was in it too. And so eventually, this movie is total complete fun from beginning to end. Came out in 1999. So if you love Bruce Willis, if you love sci-fi movies, Armageddon is a good one. This is the Avengers, the first Avengers. That's the only copy I got. I'm thinking about getting the other ones, like I think there's like 2 or 3 more after this. And so it's got like Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Nick Fury. It is an action-packed movie. I saw it on my 40th birthday, which was almost 9 years ago. So it was the best birthday gift ever. So the Marvels, the Avengers, it's marvelous fun. I recommend it. This one is Batman Begins. This is the first film by one of my favorite directors, Christopher Nolan, who he is an awesome director who directed Memento, which I loved. I loved Memento, which was really, really good. It has Christian Bale as Batman, and I think he did an amazing job as Batman. Him, Adam West, and Michael Keaton. I thought Val Kilmer was gorgeous in Batman Forever, but when George Clooney put on the suit for Batman and Robin, it was a mistake. Terrible movie. And eventually Ben Affleck is wearing the bat suit now, and I don't know what to think, but eventually this film it's with Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman, Liam Neeson, Gary Oldman. Awesome movie. The late great Rutger Hauer. And the movie is fantastic, emotional, genuinely gripping. So this one I recommend. This one, Black Panther. I've been dying to see this film, but I bought this for myself as a Christmas present a couple of years ago, and and this has the late Chadwick Boseman on it. God rest his soul. Wakanda forever. So I love the film. It is awesome. It's also got Danai Gurira of The Walking Dead, and it also has Michael B. Jordan, Angela Bassett, Lupita Nyong'o. It's a great stellar cast, and it's one of the best superhero movies of the century and an action-packed adventure. So if you haven't gotten Black Panther, you should get it. This is the final cut version of a Blade Runner. I'm a huge fan of cult movies, and this has Harrison Ford in it, and it's directed by Ridley Scott. I loved Ridley Scott. He's one of my other favorite directors. And this movie, like, this is a version that has like special features, and it's the final cut of the film. So eventually, they probably add scenes that you've never seen before. It has another with the late great Ruger Hauer, who's a great actor, and it reads, "The futuristic vision perfected. The final cut of the influential masterpiece of science fiction movie making." So if you haven't seen Blade Runner, if you haven't gotten it, I recommend you get it. Oh, and this one, The Boondock Saints. Cult classic, great movie. I saw it a few years ago and I loved it. It has Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus, David DeLaRocco, and Billy Connolly in it. So eventually, so it's got a lot of deleted scenes, trailer scene selection with motion images, outtakes. So eventually, but this movie is one of the greatest. So if you like action, if you like Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery, I get this movie. You're gonna love it. The other one I got is the sequel, Boondock Saints 2 All Saints Day. It's from Troy Duffy as well, and it also has deleted scenes and unprecedented access, whatever, yeah. So this is the sequel, and it took place about 10 years later after the first Boondock Saints. And it also has Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus, Clifton Collins Jr., Julie Benz, with Peter Fonda, God rest his soul, and Billy Connolly. So, but rumors have been coming out saying that there's going to be a third one, but so far no word yet. So, well, if there's going to be a third one, that's great. If not, that's okay. This is The Dark Knight, the sequel to Batman Begins, of the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy. I was dying to see this movie in the theater, but in 2008, but I did not have the time because I was moving into a new apartment, and I was just so busy with other stuff, but I had to miss it. So it had great cast: Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger, another actor, God rest his soul, died too soon. Awesome job as Joker. He deserved that Oscar because he went all out to play the Joker, and this Oscar was very well deserved for him. Yeah, because he's more of a dark Joker, what he is. So, and it also has Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and Morgan Freeman in it. So prepare to be wowed. This one you have to have in your collection. Batman, The Dark Knight. This is the final of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. It's called The Dark Knight Rises, and I finally saw it at the theater a couple of days when it came out. Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I went with a couple of friends of mine, and And Christian Bale, he is a wonderful actor, and I love Christian Bale. He is gorgeous. He's drop dead gorgeous. It's got another great cast in it. Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Anne Hathaway, Tom Hardy, Marion Cotillard, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Morgan Freeman. So this movie is brilliant and masterful filmmaking, spectacular and epic achievement. So make sure you have The Dark Knight Rises in your library. This is another great movie if you love apocalypse movies and all that. This is called Deep Impact. And it's a thriller. It's about if you love apocalyptic movies, this is a good one. It's got it's directed by Mimi Leder, and it stars Robert Duvall, Téa Leoni, Elijah Wood, Vanessa Redgrave, Maximilian Schell, God rest his soul, and Morgan Freeman. So, and it's a thriller with brains and exhilarating, the special effects highlight of the year. So, if you love apocalypse movies, you should have this in your collection. Oceans rise, cities falls, hope survives. This is a classic that everybody should have in their collection. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Now, I have the 2-disc limited collector's edition. I usually shop out for like bargain DVDs at Cheapies, which is gone now. I go to like thrift stores. I go to New to You. I go everywhere. Whenever I can get a great deal, I could go on Amazon, eBay, and all that. So I could get really, really, really good deals on this. Directed by the great Steven Spielberg. He is awesome. It was Drew Barrymore's very first movie, so she was so cute. I remembered I went to that movie with my brother and my stepmother, or mother, what you want to call her. So then eventually, Bonnie was her name, and we had bags of chips in our hand. And remember the scene where E.T. and Elliot saw each other face to face for the first time? They screamed so loud that I hit a chip bag right in my face. Hid my face right behind the chip bag. So this is a good one. It's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. So if you don't have E.T. in your collection, get it. Next up is a great movie with an all-star cast, The Expendables. It is directed by and starred Sylvester Stallone, and it's got a lot of action. It's awesome. It's a great movie. I saw it the first time it came out, and it's got the gag reel, a deleted scenes, marketing archive, and all that. So eventually, it's got a great cast of action stars in it. It also stars Jason Statham and Jet Li. And it also has Dolph Lundgren, Eric Roberts, Randy Couture, Steve Austin, David Zayas, Giselle Ite, Charisma Carpenter, Gary Daniels, with Terry Crews and Mickey Rourke. And this movie, it was just the most explosive action film of the year. And so far, I thought it wasn't going to do a good job, but I'm surprised that it did. And I've seen Expendables 2, and I thought it was good, and Expendables 3, and I've seen a bit of it, but I don't know if maybe I should get 2 and forget the 3, or I should get both 2 and 3. So eventually, you should have like The Expendables. If you love action, guys, this is a movie. This is what you need to get. Now, another cult movie that I debated on buying, but I did it anyway because it was on for $5. This movie. It's Flash Gordon. It was made in 1980, and they say it's a classic film. That the music of Queen is the music of it. and it starred Sam J. Jones, Melody Anderson, Ornelia Muti, Max von Sydow, God rest his soul, Topol, Timothy Dalton before he was James Bond, and a lot of other guys. A lot of guys in the people I don't recognize in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but it's an all new special edition, digitally remastered picture in 5.1 surround sound. So if you're a fan of the comic strip of Flash Gordon, and if you have Flash Gordon in your library, that's great. But if you don't, if you want it, interested in Flash Gordon, you should get it. Okay, so it's the Savior of the Universe edition. Okay. Next up is another great Christopher Nolan movie, Inception. I loved it. Saw it at the theater years ago, and the movie was so amazing. I love Christopher Nolan. He is one of my favorite directors of all time. And it starred Leonardo DiCaprio, Ken Watanabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Marion Cotillard, Ellen Page, who's now Elliot Page now, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Tom Berenger, and Michael Caine. So Michael Caine was in a lot of Christopher Nolan films, and he is a wonderful actor. The movie has a lot of spectacular action, and it's got some special features too. And it's dazzling and it's breathtaking, and this is a must-have in your collection. Inception. This one, Independence Day, which it's another apocalyptic movie. If you're a huge fan of apocalyptic movies, this is a movie to go for. It came out in 1996, and I got this on eBay, I believe, and it's had the glowing on the cover of it, of the glow, which is amazing. And and if you love movies like this is a good one. It has Will Smith. It's directed by Roland Emmerich. It stars Will Smith, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonough, Judd Hirsch, Margaret Cullen, Randy Quaid, Robert Loggia, James Reborn, Harvey Fierstein. A huge cast, which has a lot of people. It's be ready to be boggled by the blockbuster that beats all others by a light year. This is a must-have movie. If you don't have it, get it. This, Iron Man, one of the greatest superheroes of all time. I saw this for the first time when it came out on DVD, and I had to have the DVD. So eventually, it stars Robert Downey Jr., Terrence Howard, Jeff Bridges, Sean Tubb, and Gwyneth Paltrow. So eventually, this movie, it was directed by Jon Favreau, and I thought Robert Downey Jr. did an amazing job as Iron Man and Tony Stark. So, the film is it also has deleted and extended scenes, which is great. And it's a thrill-a-minute blockbuster. So if you love Iron Man, you should get this. And it's spectacular. This one, Iron Man 2, the long-awaited sequel. I saw this at the theater when it first came out. It was amazing, and I loved it. And it's also directed by Jon Favreau. And it also has Robert Downey Jr., and it has Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, who replaced Terrence Howard as his best friend, Scarlett Johansson, Sam Rockwell, Mickey Rourke, and Samuel L. Jackson. Mickey Rourke played an awesome villain in this film. His whips were whipping all around this place, oh god. And actor Justin Theroux also he wrote the screenplay. Was Justin Theroux, so or something like that. So eventually, this movie is a total blast. So make sure you have Iron Man 2 in your list. I also seen Iron Man 3, but I don't have the movie yet, and I thought the third one was really I couldn't understand it. So eventually, I'm not sure if I'm going to get the third one or not. Next is one of my all-time favorite trilogies, the Lethal Weapon trilogy. Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, and 4. It had Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci, Rene Russo, and other cast members. It also had Jet Li and Chris Rock. I thought the first Lethal... I remembered I went to Florida with a church group, and they put on this film in the bus called Lethal Weapon. But eventually, when Mel Gibson's scenes comes on, when the Family Feud theme is playing, he was smoking in bed. Then all of a sudden, when he stepped up and he got out of bed, you saw his behind, his booty. When all the girls in the bus was going, ah! Oh, he's so gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And then after that, the director says, okay, that's it, turn it off. Great memories. This was very funny. When they put in Joe Pesci as Leo Getz, he stole the whole show. He was so funny. And I was just like, it was just so, it was funny all over. Like I saw it when I went to work at camp back in 1989. This is still chemistry, and it's awesome. And now the third one, Pesci's back in the film, and I also added Rene Russo to the cast. Oh, just a minute here. Oh, add Rene Russo to the cast, which was good. She played Rhonda, and she became a new love interest for Lorna was her name, and she became a new love interest for Martin Riggs, and I am so glad. Some parts are really, really good, and really, really good. Joe Pesci was great as usual. Suppose I get a gun, and they both yell, "No!" And that goes out when the hockey game won't go into the hockey game. So you'll get this one. And a booby trap that went wrong in the beginning, and it was just so funny. This is the Lethal Weapon 4. It had added Jet Li and Chris Rock in it. Hilarious comedy, and lots of funny stuff, and eventually it is hilarious, and but eventually they thought it was going to be the swan song, but I heard a rumor there's going to be a fifth Lethal Weapon coming out. If there is, that's awesome. If not, I'm okay with it too. So the Lethal Weapon trilogy, if you love Mel Gibson and Danny Glover together, you got to get this movies. Get the trilogy. This one is another good one. It's called Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes. And it is a good film. Like, it wasn't too bad. It's about this cop who lost his wife about a year ago, and then he decided to go so he's an ex-cop with a bad mouth, a bad attitude, and a bad seat. For the terrorists on Flight 163, he's very bad news. So this is a movie if you love these kind of hijack movies, Passenger 57 is a good one. There's a lot of great punchlines. Has a good cast. Tom Sizemore's in it, and so eventually, this movie, it's something to think about in your collection. So this is a good one. Another film, Poseidon. It's a remake of the Poseidon Adventure, but this one was directed by Wolfgang Peterson, and it came out in about 2006, and it's a non-stop action film that doesn't come up for air. So I've seen it a few times, and it was awesome. It's a widescreen edition, and it has Kurt Russell, Josh Lucas, and Richard Dreyfuss in it. Also has Emmy Rossum, Jacinda Barrett, Mike Vogel, Mia Mastro, Jimmy Bennett, and Andre Brower. And it also has Fergie of the Black Eyed Peas, and she was Stacey Ferguson of Kids Incorporated, and she played the singer in the film. And so take a look. So check a look out for her. The next one is a movie that's one of my favorite actors in it, Russell Crowe. It's called The Quick and the Dead, directed by Sam Raimi, who did Spider-Man. And it's about this American Western. It's American Western. It's about a shootout with action, suspense, and offbeat humor. And has Sharon Stone in it, and she was awesome as playing a cowgirl. Also has Gene Hackman and Leonardo DiCaprio. And Russell Crowe. He is my favorite actor. So this was his beginning film, like when he first stepped in America. So eventually, it's one of the most original Westerns in years. So eventually, if you love Westerns, it also has more, it's got a good cast in it. And if you love Westerns, you can have The Quick and the Dead in your collection. Okay, next up. I have the whole Star Wars trilogy, which I love Star Wars. The greatest. It's a good movie. It's an awesome movie. It was one of the best films I've ever seen in all time. I remember seeing this film in 1978 or 79 with my brothers, and they took me. They used to have a theater like on Lakeshore Road. They had this theater where they showed Star Wars, so we went there. So we went there one Sunday afternoon and saw Star Wars, and great memories. This one, The Phantom Menace, I never saw in the theaters. The first one, Phantom Menace, I thought it was pretty slow. It was a bit boring, and I thought it was a bit boring. And because it was too detailed, it was slow moving, had no pace in it, but if you like, but you should still have it in your collection if you want to watch the whole thing. This one I got for my birthday, 12 years ago, over 15 years ago, which is Attack of the Clones, and that's when the story started to build up in the prequels, but eventually it showed, but it had now Hayden Christensen has taken over the role of Anakin Skywalker. So, but eventually, this is about how him and Padme started their romance, the beginning of their romance. So eventually, and Obi-Wan, and he deals with the relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I did not see it in the theater as usual. But this is a must-have in your Star Wars collection. The third one, Revenge of the Sith. Now, I saw that in a theater in Toronto. Oh my God, it was awesome. Now, we all know in the third one in the trilogy of how we all know that Anakin was Darth Vader, but this was how we didn't know how he became Darth Vader. So if you want to know how he turned into Darth Vader, you got to see this film. How Darth Vader, Anakin turned to the forces of evil, and so like how he became a Sith Lord and all that. So this is a must-have for Star Wars fans to have in your collection. This one, A New Hope, we go to the original ones back in 1977. This was the movie that topped the Star Wars trilogy of all time. It was the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, I told you all about it. First it was just Star Wars because they didn't think it was going to do well at the box office, but the movie was a phenomenon. Everybody lined up locks and blocks, and now they had to have a chapter in this film. It was called A New Hope, and was years later when Luke and Leia grew up, and unknowingly they're related, but eventually Luke finds out about his about his past growing up. This one, The Empire Strikes Back, the best one of the trilogy. I loved it. It is one of my favorite films. It comes to the climax between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and that's when Luke learns the terrible truth about his legacy. So eventually, because he thought Darth Vader was just a brutal enemy, but I remember seeing this with my mom, my brother, and a friend and her son. We went to the Tivoli, which was a great theater, and it closed down, and it was very, very sad. So, but I miss it. Those are great, great, great times. But eventually, and Han and Leia develop a romance, which is beautiful. But eventually, some things has to happen. So, but if you haven't seen this movie, I'll bet you a bunch of people have seen this film. This is a must-have in your collection. Then the third chapter of the original. This is Return of the Jedi, and I saw it at the theater back in '83. It came out it came 2 months after it came out. I thought it was awesome. I was dying to see the film. Like, I never really go to movies a lot when I was a little girl, but eventually things will start picking up, and no offense, but yeah. And then this is so then he realized he found out a terrible truth, and he wants to change like we all know that. I cannot give any details, but you really have to watch the story. It's got Ewoks in it and the sinister Palpatine, so put that in your collection. This is bonus material that I got from a DVD collection that I got for Christmas one year. And it's a trilogy. It's got documentary and featurettes, trailers and TV spots, Episode 3 preview, The Return of Darth Vader, and video games and still galleries. So if you have the DVD set, this came with it. And the documentary is really, really, really good. It's got a lot of interesting stuff too, to add on, interesting stuff behind the scenes and all that. Next up is the Disney. Is the when Star Wars got sold to Disney, to Walt Disney. So eventually, this is one. This is the first one that was directed by J.J. Abrams. This is called The Force Awakens. I saw that on Netflix. It was great, but but the ending shocked me. It was a shock, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's got Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o, Andy Serkis, Domhnall Gleeson, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, and Max von Sydow. Peter Mayhew, Max von Sydow, Carrie Fisher, God rest your souls. So this one, it was pretty good. It was action packed, and I thought it was very good. So eventually you should have this in your collection. The next one, this was Carrie Fisher's final Star Wars acting role. This is The Last Jedi, and it's got a good cast. I thought he explored this time. The power of the Force was explored. Heroes of the Force Awakens join the galactic legends in an epic adventure that unlocks new mysteries of the Force. So it's got Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Andy Serkis, Lupita Nyong'o, Domhnall Gleeson, Anthony Daniels, Gwendolyn Christie, Kelly Marie Tran, Laura Dern, and Frank Oz as Oz, and it also has Benicio del Toro in it. And it's directed by Rian Johnson. I don't know what he directed, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was, well, it didn't do well at the box office, but eventually eventually the truth was they were saving the best for last. And I did not see that in the theater. Now, for the final role. The Rise of Skywalker. The final chapter in the Star Wars Walt Disney trilogy. And eventually I saw this in the theaters with my friend Daniel one January. I really wanted to go see it, so one day we got up and we went and saw this movie. And it's everything you want from a Star Wars film. This is how they all wrapped it up, and it stars this was Carrie Fisher's final. Like, they did a digital thing, some digital work to put Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia's role, so because they had to when she passed away, I was shocked. Like, she was very beautiful, but and it had Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Anthony Daniels, Naomi Ackie, Domhnall Gleeson, Richard E. Grant, Lupita Nyong'o, Kerry Russell, Junice Suetano, Kelly Marie Tran, with Ian McDiarmid is back as the villain, and Billy D. Williams is back as Lando Calrissian. This is the final saga of the movie. It's a must-have in your collection. Next I got here is Superman 1 and Superman 2. I got them. There's usually 3 and 4 there, and the remakes of Superman, but these two are the best of the originals. But 3 and 4 sucked big time. It was not good. But the third and the fourth, the first and the second ones are the best ones. Like, because one was directed by Richard Donner and Richard Lester. Richard Lester directed Superman 2. But there's also a Robert Donner version of the Superman 2. But eventually it was just so confusing. But I thought Richard Lester's version is so much better in the film. Like, in Robert Donner, he was awesome. And Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, God rest their souls. They had a lot of chemistry in both of these films. So eventually we also had Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Glenn Ford, Jackie Cooper, a lot of great actors. So the first 2 Supermans are a must. Next up, it's the Terminator trilogy. I only got 4 of them because the other 2 I just could not stand it. So this is the Terminator. I saw this back in 1985, and at first I thought it was really, really stupid, but eventually as soon as I saw it again, I thought, oh wow, I love this movie. And so the Terminator is a must-have movie. It's awesome. Arnold Schwarzenegger's. This is one of his biggest roles. I'll be back. Yeah. So eventually, it's a fast, clever, suspenseful, and shocking piece of work. This is the beginning of the Terminator. It's directed by James Cameron. And it was also written by James Cameron and his then wife Gail Ann Hurd, who's not moved on to the producer of The Walking Dead, and she is a phenomenal woman. Like, James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd were married a long time ago. So this Terminator is a must-have. This one is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It has special features in it. I saw this at the theater. Awesome movie. It's the best sequel to Terminator they ever had. It had added features, full motion interactive menus, descriptive video, dual-layer format, opposite tracking. And this time, it had also got Robert Patrick in the film. I just saw him on The Walking Dead recently. And he played, I think, Maze in the show, but he only lasted 1 episode, and he did a great job as the villain in the Terminator series. So eventually, this movie, the best sequel in the Terminator series, must have. Next up is Rise of the Machines, and it was okay, but I did not love it or like it at all. But eventually, the third film, it says utterly spectacular, the best action film of the year, and it has a female version of a Terminator, Christiana Loken, and it's directed by Jonathan Mostow. But eventually, it's no James Cameron, so eventually, they're but this I just couldn't understand the storyline. But eventually, if you like, it's if you love it or you like it or you hate it. Like, it's up to you. Like, the decision is all up to you. This next one is Terminator Salvation. I saw this in the theater. It is awesome. It's directed by MCG, and he's probably done some other stuff. And this one has Christian Bale and Sam Worthington in it. Two, like, I love Christian Bale. He is one of my favorite actors. So if you love the Terminator series, this is a good one. It's heart pounding and no holds barred action like you've never seen before. And it also has Anton Yelchin, good actor who went too soon, Moon Bloodgood, Bryce Dallas Howard, Common, Jane Alexander, and Helena Bonham Carter. So if you love the Terminator series, you should have this in your collection. Yeah, Christian Bale plays the adult John Connor in the film. Next one is Top Gun, a great movie from 1986. I never saw it in the theaters. It was like a few years after it got released that I've seen it. I saw it when I was working at a camp one summer. They watched it like a lot back in 1991. It was the first time I've seen it. God, it was awesome. It was an awesome movie. Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, a great soundtrack. This is a movie you must have. It's a blockbuster hit, and it also has Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerritt, Harold Faltermeyer did the musical score for the film, and it was directed by Tony Scott, who was the brother of Ridley Scott. God rest his soul. Everybody must have Top Gun. This next one, this is 999, and I thought it was pretty well action packed. It was a superb star packed thriller, but eventually it also had bonus features, deleted scenes, under the gun, and an authentic world. It's got an all-star cast, and it all it's a small independent thriller. So it's star packed, and it stars like some of my favorites: Casey Affleck, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Anthony Mackie, Aaron Paul, Norman Reedus, with Woody Harrelson and Kate Winslet. So this is if you love any of these movies, you got, like, it also has Gal Gadot and Teresa Palmer in it, and Clifton Collins Jr. in it as well. So eventually, if you like this movie, it's directed by John Hillcoat. I don't know what he directed in, but this is a movie if you love. The Code on the Street is never black and white, so if you love action cop movies, then this is a movie for you. Next up, this Arnold Schwarzenegger film that's also directed by James Cameron is True Lies. It with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my, it is funny. It's sexy. It's action packed. It's awesome, and it's digitally mastered. And it also has Tom Arnold, Bill Paxton, God rest his soul, and Tia Carrere. But there's a lot of scenes in the film that I just loved. Like with Jamie Lee Curtis, she really stole the show in this film, including this one scene, which was, if you haven't seen it, I ain't gonna tell you. And oh God, it was the bomb. True Lies. You must have to get it. Next on my list, 2012. And I've seen this movie many times, and I was thinking about buying the DVD, so that's what I did. I bought 2012 off Amazon, and it's an apocalyptic movie, and it's exhilarating and jaw-dropping, and it was directed by Roland Emmerich, who did Independence Day and The Day After Tomorrow. And so, but it also has an all-star cast in it, and it is really, really good. Yeah, and it's got a lot of action. It's got deleted scenes, alternate ending, and all that, special features. Had John Cusack, Chidwell Ejiofor, Amanda Peet, Oliver Platt, Tandy Newton with Danny Glover, and Woody Harrelson. So eventually, if you love apocalyptic movies, you should have this in your collection. We're going down to the final two. This one is Twister, 1996. It came out. It is an awesome movie. It is directed by, I think it was directed by, from the producers of Jurassic Park and the director of Speed. But eventually, it is a great movie. It's got the late, great Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt in it. Also had Philip Seymour Hoffman in it. It is so awesome. It's action adventure. It's nonstop action, and it is such a great movie. So this is a must movie that you got. I think it was directed by Gus Van Sant, I believe. Like he directed Speed or Milk or something, but I'll look it up and we'll see. And last one in my sci-fi action series is Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg. It also has Dakota Fanning and Tim Allen in it. It was a remake of the film that came out in the long time ago, and I thought the movie was really it was not bad, but eventually it had Tom Cruise in it. It also includes the special feature Designing the Enemy, Tripods, and Aliens, an explosive non-stop action, and Tom Cruise's finest performance. So eventually, if you love War of the Worlds, if you're a fan of the book or the movie or the classic, then you should have this in your collection. Okay, well, I was going to show you some more of my DVD collections, but eventually it's getting pretty late, and my voice is kind of dry right now, so next time when I come back on, hopefully tomorrow, I hope and pray, if I get enough sleep or if I have things to do or something, I will show you another of more of my DVD collections, like tomorrow. Hopefully next up, I'm going to show you the comedy section of my DVD collection. So eventually, if you have any questions, if you want to subscribe or comment or give me a thumbs up on my channel, please do so, but please be respectful, my only rule. So this is me once again, Rushdead Dixon Vixen, saying good night and God bless.